It was really difficult working with cats. There weren't many independent films. I used to do about at least 3 films a year, and more likely 5 or 6 films a year. Well, Greydon he's really full of energy, and he's really a lot of fun to work for. He had a certain control over the set, you know, what he wanted in lighting and what he wanted, the angles that he wanted. He was really a pleasure to work with. Well, Greydon had worked with Gene Cundy before he worked with me. He did tell me he was going to hire me, but he didn't describe it as a mutant cat movie. He didn't describe it. I read the script, and I was a little bit skeptical about the script and the effects, but I think I knew the effects people, and I knew that they could, you know, somewhat pull it off. But I was disappointed in the cat effects. They didn't seem like they were good enough, really. You know, it was kind of a strange film. We were shooting on a boat, and I remember a very funny incident. We used to take off on this boat every morning at like 6 a.m. And it was a big ship, you know, it was actually a small ship. It was 155 feet. It was a 155-foot light ship with about 18 staterooms in it. And it took off every day from the pier. And once it took off, it had to leave, you know. And so we were waiting around for the boom man who lived in Venice, who was a friend of mine, Lad McPartland. And eventually we started to warm up the ship, and it was about to leave. And we saw his Volkswagen drive up in the distance. And we saw him running, and they were casting the lines off, and the ship was pulling away from the dock. And Lad was running up, and he hesitated just enough that he didn't see he couldn't make the ship. It would have been about a 2-foot leap for him, but he didn't make it. He didn't fall in the water, but he was just about to fall in the water, and the ship pulled away, you know, and we waved to him, and he was stuck on shore for a while, and he had to hire a boat to take him out to meet us, and it was like midday before he got out there. The boat was very difficult to shoot on. I had a lot of experience shooting with boats for some reason. I don't remember what it was. We were shooting on the boat, and I had to have a clear background. We couldn't see boats in the background, so we had to shoot a certain angle, and we had to shoot a certain direction for lighting. And it's tricky to shoot the right direction for lighting and shoot the right background. But the captain was very good about steering the boat for us. And yeah, we shot, and I remember the camera we shot with was an Ultracam. And it was like very difficult to shoot with. We used to call it the Ultrascam. And there was only, I think there was probably 1 or 2 of them. It was kind of a modified Mitchell. And it was obviously very cheap. And it was cheaper than a BL and cheaper than a Panaflex, and that's why we used it. The lighting was difficult because we couldn't use much power. So we had to use phthalites, I think, to light with, but we were close enough to the actors that we could use any kind of lighting. We shot in the engine room of the boat. The engine room, I mean, you talk about a tight location. An engine room on a boat is really tight. It's tight just to walk through it, let alone put a camera and put lights in. very tough to shoot. But and the power situation is very tough. Cats are really a problem, and we had several cats that we worked with. One would be trained to run a certain way, but they don't exactly work on cue. They're the most difficult animal to work with. I mean, I've worked with a lot of different animals, but cats really take the cake. They have a mind of their own, and they don't like being told what to do, and you can't rush them into it. Like a dog, you can do anything with. And a horse, you just tell what to do. And elephants are fine, but cats are really tricky to work with. Oh yeah, we had a trainer. We'd feel sorry for the guy. He used to, he'd try to call the cat and he'd hold food up, but if the cat had been fed, they had to bring another cat, and I talked to him about how difficult it would be, Graydon, but he just went ahead and we did it. We did it in 18 days, as a matter of fact. Cats are afraid of water. Cats don't like being on boats. Yeah, it's a bad combination of things. But all of that we got beyond.
Get away, man!
Uninvited was silly, but it was in another way. It was supposed to be scarier than it was, I think. Clu Gulager was not a guy who I was very familiar with his career, but he had done a lot of films. I don't think he took that film seriously. And Alex Cord, I'd worked with Alex previously on a film called Jungle Warriors in Mexico. Well, Greydon was really young at the time. He was a little, about 10 years older than me. He wanted to cast people that were really wonderful in his films, and he did. Yeah, I mean, they were grateful to have the work. I was never happy that a film was over. I'd have to look for another job. Well, I wish that the films that I'd done that I was more proud of would be showing. Like I did some films that I'm relatively proud of. Like the films that I did for Dimitri Logothetis. I'm fairly proud of the work I did there. And the films that I did for Peter Bogdanovich, I'm proud of that. And I'm also proud of the work I did for Menachem Golan, which, I hope someday will get shown, Crime and Punishment. And I did another film for him that is out called Hit the Dutchman. And Mad Dog Cole, that was another film I did for him. And I did some films for Greydon. I did film for Greydon in Russia. I can't remember what it was called.
Out of Sight, Out of Mind?
No, that was a film we did, I don't know.
Dark Future?
Dark Future, yeah. That we did in Russia. We did in St. Petersburg. In the middle of winter. It's a little strange when I was young, I thought I was going to be working when I was old. I thought my career would go on. I didn't think I was going to quit when I was 50 years old. But I did. And it's good. It's satisfying to see these films being shown. My colleagues sometimes see them and we talk it over. Yeah, it's fun to think that they're still around.